Today I'll be arguing against Shelby Church's statement that libraries are boring. By the end of this video, you'll be completely convinced that libraries are really important.
I don't think you said really enough.
Oh, okay, thanks. Libraries are really important. How's that?
Much better.
Thanks.
This is DP Learn Now. I'm Jason. I normally talk about lifelong learning. Like and subscribe if that's something you're interested in. Today we are focusing on Shelby Church's comment about libraries. Are libraries really boring? Let's begin. Recently I was watching Shelby Church's video which is titled, "Can you start a YouTube channel in 2020 with just a phone?" I was watching it because I'm a beginner YouTuber who's thinking of filming with his phone. Yeah, obviously. And it's a good video. I was learning a lot, but I couldn't agree with the following scene.
We're going to take a somewhat boring topic and I'll show you how I would evolve this into an interesting video. So our topic is going to be libraries. I know, super random, but we're going to find a way to make this an interesting video and shoot it on a phone. So
What? Boring? Libraries are not boring! Not boring! Not boring! Not boring! Libraries are not boring! Okay, sorry about that. Before we go any further with this discussion, I must include a very important caveat. While it's clear that I disagree with Shelby's comment that libraries are boring, that is where my disagreement begins and ends. I found the rest of the video to be actually quite helpful.
Which is proven by the fact that I'm recording this on my phone.
Also, Shelby seems to have changed her mind about libraries by the end of the video, so that's a good thing. I've also learnt a lot from some of Shelby's other videos. Her video on starting a YouTube channel has helped me to start my own. I also really enjoy her series on unusual houses. However, nobody should be put on a pedestal. This comment cannot go unchecked. That makes you a very fussy and pedantic person, Jason. Be quiet, beanie wearing Jason. Libraries are not boring. Firstly, for thousands of years they have been a reliable source of knowledge. The invention of the internet has not changed this because, what do when the internet goes crazy and makes less sense than a load of dingo's kidneys? You go to the library, where a librarian can assist you on your fact-checking journey. A library started by Benjamin Franklin had the goal of improving the community through access to books that people couldn't afford to buy. Now, however, that idea has expanded. Libraries are now offering access to new technology including 3D printers, vinyl cutters and laser cutters. Some libraries even have creative spaces with equipment for making and editing videos. Now that is a useful thing. Other libraries even have looms for weaving. This trend will continue in the future. Libraries will continue to provide information, education and opportunities, and a plethora of services that haven't even been imagined yet, opening up exciting new worlds to explore. When you put it like that, libraries sound like the smartphones of our community, able to download any app that you require. Except in this case, the apps are real machines. Ha! Stop talking rubbish! Hey! I recently conducted a tiny survey about libraries. It had to be tiny because my city is still in lockdown. In that survey, all 3 people agreed that libraries are not boring. And here are some of the reasons why. Libraries have great books to read. They have wonderful children's programs. They offer a much needed chance for some peace and quiet. The other people whom I surveyed were too young to respond. However, they demanded a bottle of milk and then wandered off. This small survey suggested that libraries benefit all members of our society. But I must concede that this sample size is too small to be accepted by peer-reviewed research. Let's take a short break from libraries to talk about Tim Tams. I love Tim Tams, they are delicious. There's a reason that the most impressive scene in many movies occurs in a library. Look at the Hogwarts library from Harry Potter. Such a beautiful room. And there is nothing boring about the restricted section. In Beauty and the Beast, despite being a prisoner within the castle, Belle was amazed when she saw the library. This scene was important enough to be included in both the 1991 and 2017 versions of the film. Libraries can be just as grand in real life. I'm going to mention just a few of my favourites over the next 35 to 40 minutes. The library at Arnick Castle in England and Liobo Resort in South Africa are both very impressive and well worth a look if you are ever in that neck of the woods. The Library of Congress in Washington DC is reported as being the world's largest, with over 110 million items from almost every language in the world. And apparently it has 532 miles of bookshelves. 532 miles? That's ridiculous. Somebody fact check that right now. Okay, the Jason who's wearing a beanie needs to stop interrupting now. On a smaller scale, I've always enjoyed visiting my local Robinson's bookshop. It's just the vibe of the place. It has a great atmosphere and it's a very beautiful shop. But what's the most beautiful library in the world? That is a tough choice, but here are a few contenders. The Library of Parliament in Canada has flying buttresses. Nothing can be boring when it has flying buttresses. The Abbey Library of St. Gall, Switzerland. It just gives a feeling of excitement. What could be here? Perhaps you could find many a quaint and curious volume of long-forgotten lore.
Quoth the raven, nevermore.
This is the Royal Portuguese Reading Room of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. I think every city should have a reading room. That sounds awesome. What about Stuttgart Library in Germany? Wouldn't you just like to run up all of those stairs? And the George Peabody Library in Baltimore, USA. Wow. Just wow. Every time you enter here could be life-changing. You have access to so much information here. But you can access even more information on the internet. True, but this library has no trolls, no hateful comments, and no vulgar memes. And you won't get distracted by cat videos. But I like cat videos. Last and definitely least, here is a library that I built myself in Minecraft. Any healthy community has a library. So you could say that very healthy communities have lots of libraries. The cities with the most libraries are Edinburgh, Warsaw, Brussels and Paris. Edinburgh contains 69 libraries for every 100,000 members of the population. And you would have a very hard time claiming that any of these cities are boring. I understand that the concept of boring is a qualitative measure and just a matter of perspective. It's also possible that there's something that Shelby Church is passionate about that I think is incredibly boring. If that's true, then Shelby Church is welcome to make a response video about that. The one thing I'd like you to take away from the video is this. Just because Shelby Church called libraries boring, that doesn't make it true. As another example, just because somebody is going to talk about how horrible this video is in the comments, that doesn't make it true either. Keep that in mind the next time that somebody criticizes something that you love. I'd like to finish today by sharing this quote with you from Neil Gaiman. Google can bring you back 100,000 answers. A library can bring you back the right one. Ha! I still think that libraries are boring. Ah! Never forget, nothing is boring if it has flying buttresses.
Today I'll be arguing against Shelby Church's statement that
Morning.